What a huge bounce back win for Boise State over Eastern Washington. Let's talk about it in this reaction right here on the Pac-12 Daily Podcast. Yes, welcome on into the Pac-12 Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Christian Rao, and let's dive right in. Boise State making a statement, 51-14 against Eastern Washington. And yes, it's against an FCS opponent. But what we saw last week against South Florida, the embarrassing loss that they had against South Florida, Boise State absolutely needed to make this happen. And they did. They started off hot. They continued very strong. Just a few things that I think they still need to tweak as they continue on in their Mountain West schedule and then eventually get to Notre Dame. And if they want to be competitive against Notre Dame, I think they have to fix those. I'll talk about that in just a second. But overall, just a big, small little breakdown of this. You know, Madsen had a great game. Maddux Madsen, quarterback, 307 yards, according to the stats. That is a tied for his career high in passing. An excellent rebound from him after last week's game. I mean, this was a performance last week where you were questioning if he was going to make it through the entire season. It was not obviously college football playoff football performance material from him last week. That changed this week. And again, I understand who their opponent is, but they needed this type of gut check performance. The running game is what really impressed me. And the narrative that is going to continue to be going out through Boise State this entire season is, well, they have to replace Aston Genty. Well, they probably are not going to do it with one player, but go ahead and cue that Moneyball reference because they're probably going to do it in the aggregate. There are plenty of players on this Boise State running team that are super impressive. Sire Gaines, I think he proved that he is going to take over running back one, but I think you have a true battle of who's going to take those RB2 snaps. You obviously have Malik Sherrod, who I think those two could be a dangerous duo. But once we started to get a little bit more of the other players in, once the score started running up, Dylan Riley got a couple more snaps and he just took off. He's got juice. He's impressive. He gets the corner. He's got track star speed, in my opinion. He's just got the power to get it done as well. And he's not afraid to put his shoulder down and get it done. He actually led the team in rushing with 6 carries, 123 yards, or averaged over 20 yards a carry, picked up a score as well. They had 5 rushing touchdowns in this game. They had one from Riley, Gaines, Sherrod, Madsen, and Bates had one on an impressive jet sweep in the third quarter. I mean, this was exactly what you needed from Boise State in week 1 against South Florida. It's a week too late, but they are back where they need to be. And this is very impressive for Boise State when they move on and they start building into, you know, the next couple weeks of their schedule before they get to that Notre Dame game, which is of course going to be a huge one on October 4th, but taking down, you know, going on the road to Air Force, hosting Appalachian State before those two, they have 2 more games to truly get right. And the thing that I'm super worried about is that I think there's still some concerns with the secondary. There were some times that Eastern Washington was still getting the best of them in the secondary. I don't know if you can really, you know, hang your hat if you're the defensive backs coach, if you're maybe the corners and the safeties. I think you still got a lot of work to do on that behalf. So not perfect by any means, but when you're putting up a 50 burger in a college football game, period, then you're still doing a good job. Boise State obviously taking care of this one once again, 51-14. I really enjoyed watching this football game. I thought they played very well. I was tweeting during the game over at Pac-12 Daily. You can check that out, and you can check out our reports as well at pac12daily.com, of course. And we're going to be giving you reactions throughout the entire weekend, throughout the entire new Pac-12 teams, all of them, including Boise State, and so much more. So you can make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out anything. As I mentioned before, Maddux Madsen, 16 for 26, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 3 carries for 27 yards in one of those touchdowns. That ties a career high. It was just impressive. Overall impressive by this Boise State offense. There's a sellout. It's 32,887 according to the social media channel of Boise State. And they are doing so good in home openers since 1996. They continue that great home opener streak since 1996. According to research, they are 27-3 now. And Friday home games with this victory against Eastern Washington on a Friday home game at Albertsons Stadium, they're now 30-3 on Friday home games. So, and they do have a couple of those still on the schedule this season. So they continue to have a great time when they host football teams, when they play at Albertsons Stadium. Again, 27-3 in home openers. That's exactly what you need. It's just unfortunate you didn't play South Florida at home to begin the season. Dylan Riley had some great touchdowns, a 77-yard touchdown to really end this one, and then really kind of putting him more in the conversation that, okay, maybe he needs to get more snaps against Air Force, against Appalachian State. Because if you walk into Notre Dame and you have 3 running backs just buzzing on all cylinders, and Maddux Madsen is doing exactly what he did in this game, and can find a way to do that against a defending player that went, or team that went to the national championship, then I think you're in a good spot that maybe you can compete. Now we'll see if the defense can hold off. That's a completely different story. But I really like what this offense proved tonight. I got to see more. I got to see what they can do against Air Force, what they can do against Appalachian State. The kind of the skill kind of rises a little step by step before you get to Notre Dame. If they can wax them like they just did against Eastern Washington, then maybe we put Boise State back in a category of, oh, hang on a minute. Maybe they are a contender for that G5 spot in the college football playoffs. Shout out to Ben Ford, too, the tight end from Idaho, Eagle, Idaho, pretty sure as well. Catches his 2 touchdowns in this one, had 82 yards on just 3 receptions. I mean, he was awesome. And I'm pretty sure he didn't have a touchdown in his college career until tonight, and he picked up 2 of them in this one, including a 60-yard bomb. It was really impressive. Chris Marshall had 4 receptions for 132 yards. That was his career high. And they only got 4 receptions from him. You got to get him the ball more. And of course, this is something that you're spreading it out a lot. 17 receptions in this game for those 309 yards, and only 4 of them go to Marshall. As the schedule gets a little bit more, starts to progress and the difficulty starts to rise, when you start relying on more players, I think Chris Marshall needs to be one of those guys that you certainly focus on. I want to see how this running game can continue to excel, because I think we just got a taste of what it could do in this one. I mean, right from the start, the first drive of the game was exactly what they were hoping for. I mean, you couldn't have scripted it any better. 3 plays, 75 yards, touchdown, and it was no passing. It was just straight running. Sire Gaines started the game with a 46-yard rush. I mean, it really just started off exactly what you could expect and hope for. And you say, yeah, that's Boise State football. And that's not Ashton Genty back there. Those are 3 other dudes that are getting it done. And Maddux Madsen put in some yards too on that as well. Averaged over 8 yards a carry on his rushes, including a 14-yard rush. I am really impressed with Boise State tonight. I'm not going to say it's just because it's an FCS opponent. That's probably why the score got a little bit out of hand. Yeah, Eastern Washington isn't the best team when it comes to FCS opponents. But hey, look, this is exactly what this Broncos team needed to get back on pace and to get ready to head out and take on Air Force next week. I think this is exactly what this team needed. So leave a comment in the description below. Let me know on YouTube, because we're doing reactions all weekend long for all the new Pac-12 teams. We're going to be doing that every single week, and we are bringing you the podcast every single day for the rest of the football season. We're not going anywhere, folks. And of course, you can check us out at pac12.com. I want to know what your thoughts of this Boise State game was. Are you as impressed as I am? And do you have any concerns about that secondary like I do as well? What am I missing here, or maybe something I didn't talk about that should be addressed about this Boise State team as they get ready to take on in a few weeks the Notre Dame Fighting Irish? That is going to be a huge game on the schedule for this team. I mean, it could be a do or die part of their season. If they win that game, they are right back in the college football conversation. Dare I say, lead it. Even if South Florida is still in that conversation, I think a win over Notre Dame takes the cake in that one. All right, folks, we'll see you back here later on Saturday as we continue on some more reactions and, of course, full episodes throughout the week on the Pac-12 Daily Podcast.